welcome our first boxer making their way to the red corner. Originally from Rome, now boxing out of London, Victor Edagha. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent making his way to the blue corner. From Sheffield, Mikey the Lord Harrison. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live on Fight Zone, where Fight Academy proudly presents 4 rounds of boxing in the light heavyweight division. Our timekeeper at the bell for this contest is Chris Hancock, and our referee in charge, scoring the action, star referee Michael Alexander. Sheffield, that is our officials. If you're ready to welcome our boxers, make some noise! Introducing first and boxing out of the red corner, wearing the black shorts. On the scales, he weighed in 171 pounds and 4 ounces. This evening taking part his 100th contest as a professional. Boxing out of London, Victor Edagha. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent facing him across the ring and boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the black, white and gold shorts. On the scales, he weighed in at 171 pounds and 12 ounces. Making his debut as a professional, from Sheffield, Mikey the Lord Harrison.
Well, they like him, don't they? Mikey Harrison, got a lot of fans here. They've made their way down, and some, well, they'll be more interested in this than in the main event, and he'll want to show that he is a talent. He says that nothing for him comes naturally. It's all the product of hard work, and he's in here against a very experienced man, been around a while, and he's awkward, a survivor, and Harrison will have it all on to look good here.
I was chatting to my former teammate Brad Ray, who's actually in action tonight as it happens, but I was saying, do you remember fighting Victor? And he said, yeah, of course I do. He said he was really, really awkward. Good luck to whoever's boxing him tonight, he said, because he is known as being a really difficult opponent. And again, been in with some, you know, a good level. Brad Pauls, for example, who of course fights Nathan Heaney next week for the British middleweight title. So he's going to be it's the difficult debut actually for Harrison, but that is exactly the kind of reception you want on your debut, to come out to that kind of support. Brilliant.
As long as he's not overhyped by it. He has to listen to his corner, listen to John Fuchs, and he has to box his way to success against this fella. He's got a big reach advantage. Harrison stands 6'3" against 5'11" for Edagha, and he'll need to maximise that work behind those long levers.
He's looked good so far, Harrison. I like what I see. I think he's taking the centre. He's got good movement. Nice, long, sharp jab. Not being reckless. I think the adrenaline will be pumping through his veins, especially coming out to that type of reception. But it looks like he's composed in there. Measured approach.
A lot of scar tissue above the eye of Edagha. Looks as though he's had a nasty cut at some stage, which has left a permanent mark.
Big night for him as well, John, becoming a Centurion, of course.
Indeed. We talked earlier on about journeyman and a point of honour to get to that point.
Really good backhand there from Harrison, found its way through. Really rocked the head back there of Edagha, but good to see that he's back behind his jab, not getting too carried away. And that's good to see on his debut, because it's easy to let that go to your head, especially when you get success with a shot like that, as he just did a moment ago with that backhand.
Says as a lad that he lacked confidence, Mikey Harrison. Didn't look as though he lacked confidence when he was waving to his fans, did he? Started boxing when he was 13 years old, and he had a pretty mixed record as an amateur, and he freely confesses that his amateur record wasn't great, and he reckons that he's really moving on. He won the Yorkshire Championship, spotted by Dennis Hobson and John Fuchs, and they saw talent there and they encouraged him to turn pro, and he's won that first round of his professional career.
Yeah, he signed with them in March, and he was really delighted to take that step, and I think that was a really impressive first round of his pro career, because he caught Edagha on a couple of occasions, but he didn't get carried away and let it all go to his head and become reckless. He went back to his jab, and it's important, isn't it, that they continue to do the things that have found them that little margin of success, and don't try and do anything wild or out of character.
I thought he boxed nicely there, and he's impressing people all around the place, including his young fans there.
Yeah, that's lovely to see, and that's what it's about. And as you just said, perhaps didn't have confidence as a youngster. That's exactly what sport can do for people. Give them that confidence, those social skills that lend themselves to every other area of life, and that's clearly what it's done for Mikey Harrison, and it's great to see now youngsters who look up and aspire to him as well.
Big lad, isn't he? Just 20 years old in his professional debut tonight. Mikey Harrison from the village of Ridgeway, not too far away from Eckington.
I think what he's doing well here, Harrison, is his timing. Obviously he's got that reach advantage, but Edagha can be very, very awkward because he's always moving around, but that also makes him vulnerable, because if you can catch him when his feet are moving and he doesn't have his feet planted, he can really cause some damage. And that's again, it's a fine balancing act if you're going to be moving constantly, as Edagha does. And as you see, as he's skirting the ropes at times, his legs go square, his feet go square, which means he's really vulnerable. Difficult to find though, isn't he? Just stopped 4 times in those 93 losses. He is a great survivor. He's a big, powerful lad though, Harrison, as well. He definitely has the power to do some damage, that's for sure. And if he just waits for those moments, especially as Edagha just skirts the ropes and goes square-footed, if he can land at that precise moment, he could put himself in a good position here. The reactions there again from Edagha, swaying this way and that to avoid those punches. A little bit wild initiating that attack there from Edagha. Michael Alexander talking to them, trying to implore on them the need to keep it clean, to keep the boxing going. Not quite found the opening so far in this second round, Harrison, to land flush as he did a couple of occasions in the opening round. And as you can see, he throws those shots from really unorthodox angles, John, does Edagha. He'll sort of bob his head to the right and throw that wide overhand lead, but if you can time it and catch him when he launches in with that, when he's off balance, it'd be a great time for that backhand right down the pipe from Harrison, as we saw in the first round.
He's a bit too keen on hugging and clinching for the liking of the very much pro Mikey Harrison crowd. They'd like to see the opportunity for their man to land some solid shots. Feints to throw one there, thinks better of it into the last 10 seconds of this second round. Only glancing contact made there, and in all honesty, that second round there was very little landed by either man.
Yeah, I think he managed to make it a more awkward affair in the second round, Edagha, which he absolutely needed to do, because he took a couple of really big shots. Whether he felt them or not is difficult to say. Sometimes they can look a lot worse than they actually feel, but certainly they were eye-catching, and he won't want to take too many of those either way. So he has made it more difficult and interrupted the rhythm and the flow, let's say, of Harrison, more so in the second round.
Well, there's the fans. You know who they want to see coming on strong as we move towards the third round. That second round was it wasn't too far away from being a 0-0 draw.
Absolutely, yeah. It was a really difficult one to score. I think the first round was easier, thanks to those clear shots that were landed by Harrison in such a decisive manner.
Referee Michael Alexander is the one who has to run the rule over this and decide what the score would be. No question about the first, but the second, was there a proper punch landed by either man? Didn't really see it in the third.
Good use of the jab in the opening seconds of this one from Harrison. It's really difficult when Edagha comes forward at you with those wild swings, as I say, from unorthodox angles, but just staying behind that jab for now, waiting for the opportunity to open up is the right approach, I'd say.
So difficult to tie down Edagha. Been a few elusive fighters from this part of the world. Old Harold Graham, maybe the most elusive of the lot. They used to take him round the prisons and invite people to try and hit him.
Imagine.
And they couldn't lay a glove on him. Some big tough lads as well.
Yeah, he was the master, wasn't he?
Right up everybody's list when people talk about the best fighter never to win a world title. Solid right hand. And he's going looking for it again. Tried to really unleash a big left as well. Well, that might be surely the best fight that Edagha has landed. The best punch, rather.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Harrison knows that, and good job there from him.
Few slightly anxious faces in that Harrison corner. John Fuchs shouting encouragement, shouting tactics, trying to get him to settle down.
It speaks to how confident they are in his ability, though, John, to have this kind of opponent on his debut. I mean, there are far easier opponents that they could have had for his debut, because we know Edagha is awkward, savvy, experienced, seasoned, all of the things that make any fight at any stage difficult. But certainly on your debut, when you're also dealing with the pressure and the nerves of your very first contest as a professional, and in your home city.
Harrison trying to pick him off from range, looking for the long left-hand lead, falls short of the target, and Edagha is happy to see him do that. He knows he's landed the one meaningful shot of this round.
Incredibly, Edagha is 17 years Harrison senior.
Tell you what, he's in good physical nick for a man of 37, isn't he?
He absolutely is. And Harrison, 20 years old, he's got plenty of room to grow yet. So there'll be plenty of physical development for him as well as he builds up the rounds and progresses in his career. But I guess the good thing about a debut like this is that he's going to take so much more from this than if he did have somebody who just throws nothing back, who just tucks up and isn't awkward and difficult to break down. he'll learn a great deal from these rounds, because look at some of those angles in the replay there from which Edagha throws those shots. Takes his head the opposite way and then just throws these wild swings, and really difficult to sort of not just defend but plot any type of counter.
They come from somewhere near the top rope, don't they, when he launches them? It's almost like somebody trying to wing it in from the boundary in a cricket match. He throws from way back, but they're coming from some crazy angles, and as you see, it's so difficult to find. Into the last round. A little bit of marking around the left side of Harrison's face. I guess that's a legacy of that big swinging right hand that caught him. Left hand side of his face, rather. Loves his football, Harrison, another Sheffield United fan.
There's been a couple of really good fight nights at Bramall Lane, actually, with Fight Zone. So presumably, should that happen again, he'll want to get his name on the running order. He's done a good job here, Edagha, as well, because, I mean, obviously becomes a Centurion tonight, as we've said, so there's really nothing, John, that he won't have seen from an opponent. He'll have seen it all, and that's why he's been so able to make the adaptations to prevent Harrison from finding a way through, which he was able to do in the first round.
That was a good jab there from Harrison as you were speaking. Landed right on target. And a glancing blow with that right cross as well. And that gets a more enthusiastic response from his trainer.
Yeah, he's finding a way through now, Harrison, certainly with those last couple of shots. As you mentioned, the lead hand and then backhand as well. So a bit more of that will certainly please this really passionate support that he's brought with him.
That's another good jab, another one. 2 or 3 times in this round he's found a way through and nailed his man with that left-hand lead, which is precisely what the tactics would be.
It's been a really good round. The first and so far this final round from Harrison have been really impressive.
Edagha in this last minute is looking to really take a swing.
Really accurate with that jab in this round, Harrison. Again there.
Boxing well in this round, Stacey, really is.
Yeah, I think this has been a really good performance from him.
Just a little bit of marking under his left eye as well, Harrison. I wonder if he's going to have one of those skins which is going to mark up. Walked into a left-hand lead from Edagha there. Last 10 seconds of the fight.
Really good debut, a solid debut.
Absolutely, I think he can be very pleased with that, because he was in against a very awkward customer indeed. And first round and last round, particularly, Stacey, he boxed beautifully. Yeah, which is really good. I think, again, to just reiterate what impressed me is when he did catch Edagha, particularly in the first round, he didn't become reckless, didn't let it go to his head. He went back to what had created the opportunity for that success in the first place. And sometimes with inexperienced boxers, or with the adrenaline of the debut, as I say, you can start to do wild things that you haven't even worked on before, but he stuck to what was working. You know, when you get into that corner and you're talking to him in a minute or two's time, if John Fuchs is around, have a word with him and see how he rates it, because he's the guy who spotted him as an amateur, and he's the bloke who's trying to nurture him and bring him through as a professional, and presumably he gave him the green light to go for a very awkward opponent. Now, here's the result, here it comes.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we please have a big round of applause for both of our boxers. After 4 rounds of action, we go to our referee, Michael Alexander's scorecard, which reads 40 points to 36 in favour of your winner. Now 1-0 as a professional, Mikey Harrison.
No reaction from Edagha.
A big round of
seen it,
applause
done it for
Victor
many years.
Edagha.
Mikey Harrison, though, you see a very different reaction. I think that's called animated. He loved it, and rightly so.
Yeah, he certainly did, and that's exactly what you want, isn't it, John? And the build-up to this will have been immense for him, having signed in March. He'll have been working away for months in the gym. Everybody around him getting excited with all the build-up. You know, we talk, Mikey's going pro, and let's all get tickets, we'll make a night of it. And the reception he got was incredible, and that can go one way or another, as I think you alluded to earlier. Either it can overwhelm a fighter, or they can really thrive on it, and I think he handled the occasion really, really well. Exciting things to come.
One of the things they've got to do now is keep his feet on the ground, but he's moving through beautifully. Long way to go, of course. You can't instantly say that this is a diamond who's been unearthed, but what you can say is that is a very decent amateur talent who's moved on with a fairly impressive opening win of his professional career. 40 to 36, that's 4 rounds out of 4 against a difficult, slippery opponent who could have made him look absolutely awful. He didn't do that, though. He got the win he wanted, and I think the cornermen as well are going to be pleased with what he's produced in there. I think John Fuchs, his trainer, will be delighted. Stacey's moving into position with the whole of the team and the fighter himself, and I think we're going to hear a very happy man with what's been produced tonight.
Mikey, first of all, that reception was exactly what you would want for your debut. How did it feel? Signed in March, waited all these months for this big moment. What was it like in your home city, coming out to that rapturous applause?
Absolutely unbelievable. I'm lost for words at the minute, I really am. The support what I've had for this fight and for the last few months off for everybody who knows me, getting behind me, supporting me. We all know how the ticket system works and how it's vital for fighters at my level to have the support. And I must say, I've not heard a crowd like that for a very long time on a local show like that. Absolutely unbelievable.
No, it was an amazing reception. John and I were saying in commentary there that for some fighters it can be a little bit too overwhelming. They become a little bit reckless and the adrenaline overpowers things, but you didn't seem to do that. You were measured, composed, really good performance. Is that how it felt for you?
Yeah, I felt like I did a lot of things right. I felt like I could have done a few things better. We'll have to watch it, analyse it, go through it, see what we think. But no, definitely, Victor's a very, very tough, creditable opponent.
Very awkward as well. I mean, I've seen him fight before, and you know, other fighters I've spoken to have said he is really awkward. Did you find him really awkward?
Yeah, he's definitely got a very unorthodox style, which we knew after watching him a couple of times before the fight. But in there, yeah, he's very, very slippery, very, very unorthodox, like I say, awkward fighter. But it's very easy to get frustrated against kids like that. But hopefully, when I watch it back, I'll be happy with how I boxed.
What were the plans tactically, and did he execute them as you'd asked him to do?
He were punch perfect. Honestly, so proud of him. He's been in the gym since he was 12-year-old. And when I say he was scared of his own shadow, he was scared of his own shadow, right? Me and Graham have been screaming at him for God knows how long. Have a go, believe in yourself, do this. And for a young kid to come out to that reception against a banger, Victor's a very, very credible. A lot of kids in the game saying, I hope your kid can do a bit, because Victor, I says, I know he can. But Mike is, we joke, is the oldest 20-year-old I've ever met. He's a very mature young man.
Well, we were saying for you to let him get in there on his debut with someone who's just become a centurion tonight, really seasoned, awkward experience, shows what belief you have in this young man.
And another thing, what a lot of people in the game will know, and it fell unlucky. Kids turn up on the 100th fight. On the 50th, they want to win. The 100th, they want to win, right? If he hadn't done his box as well as he'd had, Victor would have had a hell of a lot more of a go. And I honestly, with how this kid's come on as a boxer and as a young man, I couldn't be prouder, and I thought he boxed absolutely brilliant.
I agree. I think it was a really, really good debut. We've just heard about your journey really in boxing, of being a kid who was perhaps shy and lacking confidence. And I mean, look at you now. I mean, what has boxing meant to you, and where would you like to go in the sport?
Boxing's changed my life, you know, like I said, everybody kind of knows who follows me, what kind of kid I used to be, and I still am to some extent. I'm not out here Larry or anything like that. I'd like to just go as far as I can, see where we get to. I want to be winning titles. I want to be a name in the sport.
Well, listen, what a reception you got. Really good debut. Excited for what's to come for you. Well done.